Alright, today we're doing pizza dough, homemade pizza dough. There's nothing better. You hopefully saw the pizza sauce demo. Here we go. Take one package of dry active yeast. It's just right from the grocery store. One package Fleischmann's yeast. That's 2 1/4 teaspoons. We're going to make a sponge. Okay. So the first step here is you're going to add 2/3 of a cup of flour and 3/4 of a cup of warm water. Now, not scalding hot water, not just barely lukewarm water, warm water. Okay? You're going to give that a good mix, and you'll know right away. You'll see little kind of bubbles form if that yeast is good. Get some fresh yeast. Not fresh yeast, but new packages if you've had it around for 6 years. And we're going to set this in a warm spot for 30 minutes, and it's going to form what's called a sponge. Now, while the 30 minutes are happening, we're going to get the rest of our dry ingredients together. That's a 1/4 cup of rye flour. By the way, all the ingredients will be on the site. 1/4 cup of rye flour, and then 4 cups of just regular unbleached flour. Okay, all-purpose flour. All right, so fast forward, that's all the flour. And then very important here. You need a teaspoon of salt at least, maybe a teaspoon and a quarter. A lot of people forget to put salt in the dough, and it's flat and it's pizza dough. It's not pizza dough. All right, so make sure you get some salt in there, give it a little mix, and just set that aside. And there, 30 minutes later, is our first stage of the sponge, and it's alive. It's so cool. Now, we're going to make the sponge part 2. Take a cup, approximately a cup of the flour mixture, add it to the first stage of the sponge, and now we're going to add 1 cup of cold water, and we're going to give that a mix with the whisk. And then we're going to let that sit for another 30 minutes in a warm spot. And it's really going to get cool. All right? So give that a good mix. So that was our first half-hour sponge. We added a cup of flour and a cup of cold water. All right. In fact, let me switch to the spatula here. So scrape down the sides. Make sure you don't have any flour up on the sides of the bowl. All right. You're going to set your timer for 30 minutes. And you're going to let that sponge for another 30 minutes. So there we go. 30 minutes later, it is so cool. It's like spongy and sticky and light and smells cool, and it's like a science experiment. All right, let's make pizza dough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a big bowl. I like to do it in a stainless steel bowl. You can do it on a wooden cutting board if you want, but I find this less mess. I'm going to add about 2/3 of the rest of the flour mixture, so I'm going to save that third. All right, so about 2/3 of the flour go in a bowl. I'm going to use my spatula and I'm going to scrape in the sponge on top of the flour. All right, and now with your spatula, you're going to just slowly incorporate the flour into that sponge. All right, so just take it and kind of fold it and just get it going, and then you can just kind of stir it in. Now don't worry about deflating it. This is going to rise and double in size in the next stage. So what we're doing here is we're just mixing in that flour just until it's mixed in. All right, we're not going to knead it yet, so just give it a stir. When most of the flour is gone, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to add in the rest of the flour and some olive oil. Okay, now very important, olive oil is going to give this pizza dough a nice texture, a little bit of flavor. So in goes the last third of the flour and 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. Okay. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to take our spatula again and just give this a mix, and we're just going to incorporate the olive oil and the rest of the flour, and I just want this to kind of be together enough so I can get it onto the cutting board and start kneading it. Alright, so keep mixing it up, and again, it's not going to come all together. That's pretty much good enough. Scrape down your spatula, and on a floured cutting board we're going to start the kneading process. Alright, and by kneading, of course, I mean pushing with the palm of your hand, kind of turning, rolling, pushing down with the palm of your hand. There'll be a complete kneading lesson in the Culinary Academy if you decide to take our course. But anyway, most of you probably kneaded things or seen it on TV 1,000 times. You can't really screw it up. You're just kind of pushing, turning it over, folding it on itself, and then just smushing it with your palm in a forward motion. And it's hard to describe kneading. You'll get it, all right? But basically, 5 minutes later, 5-6 minutes. I got a beautiful, soft, elastic, slightly sticky dough. Okay, and then we're going to cover it with a little olive oil, a couple teaspoons of olive oil, just so it doesn't stick to the bowl and the top doesn't dry out. Put a nice kitchen towel over the top, keep it draft away from it. And I don't know if that does anything. My mom always did that. And then put it in a warm place for 2 hours. It will double in size. Amazing. It just feels so good. My favorite part of pizza dough is this, where you get to kind of punch it down and it just kind of deflates. But we're not deflated. We're actually exhilarated because we're thinking about the pizza that this is going to make. It's going to be incredible. So here we go. We punch down our dough. Again, it rose for 2 hours in a warm spot. I'm going to kind of square it up here on the cutting board. And again, it's flat. It's flattened, but that's what we want. And I'm going to take my pastry cutter or knife, but I'm going to use this plastic pastry scraper, and I'm going to cut this dough into 6 individual pieces. Because what I like to do is cure the dough, which means I'm going to let it sit for a little while. I'm actually going to make the pizza tomorrow. Okay, this gets a little more supple and a little more tender if you let it go overnight in the fridge. You can make pizza now if you want. Okay, and the pizza demo will be on the site hopefully tomorrow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little olive oil in my hand. All right, I'm going to rub each one of these individual portions of pizza dough that I formed into a nice ball. I'm going to put each one in a Ziploc bag, and there we go. That's going to go in the fridge overnight, and then overnight it kind of doubles in size again. We're going to punch that down and make our pizza. But again, to work with the pizza, you want the dough to be at room temperature. So if you are going to put it in the fridge in the Ziploc bag like I recommend, make sure you take it out and let it come up to temperature. When it does, you'll check tomorrow's demo. We're going to make amazing pizza. See that heart shape? That's for all the ladies out there. And my wife. Anyway, I hope you give that a try. It's really fun, really easy making your own pizza dough. And I've been working on the new site, of course. That's why I haven't been posting every day. So anyway, thanks for your patience. And as always, enjoy.